I'm here with Henry Fastert, Chief Technologist and Managing Partner of Enterprise Solution Services for SHI, and want to talk to you now about this new partnership that we have with SHI. Henry, LabVantage is partnering with you in particular to provide cloud-based informatics solutions for our customers. Thanks to the Microsoft to the cloud commercials, I think a lot of people are starting to become more familiar with the term cloud.
Right.
But maybe they're not really sure what that means. Could you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Sure. You know, cloud in its most general meaning is meant to be an aggregation of services that are provided to customers. And so, you know, we're all used to the traditional hardware infrastructure where a company will deploy hardware, layer on, you know, middleware, and then the software applications that they use. Cloud, you know, provides the ability to provide some or all of that without having to manage the infrastructure for it. So the most common use of cloud today is infrastructure as a service and software as a service.
Okay.
There's an intermediate position called platform as a service, and I'll just briefly touch on the three of them. So infrastructure as a service really provides virtual machines to a customer, so they no longer need to purchase physical hardware. They get a virtual server that, in the case of our offering, is placed on the customer's network, and they use that virtual machine in exactly the same way they would use a physical server or a virtual server they've created from their own infrastructure. A platform as a service is a further layer of abstraction, so that you now no longer see you no longer see the virtual servers. All you see is what appears to be a very large operating system instance. And then finally, SaaS takes it to the top of that stack, where you no longer not only don't see virtual machines or infrastructure of any type, you don't see operating systems. All you see is the software application itself, and it's presented to the end user.
All right. So an example of that, for instance, might be Salesforce.com.
Yes.
Some of those that are common in the industry right now.
Yes.
So tell me in particular what makes SHI's cloud offering well suited for an enterprise class application.
So we've decided to focus initially on infrastructure as a service. And we do so in a very unique way. We've designed it to provide what we refer to as industrial-grade virtual machines. And so there are lots of people who offer infrastructure as a service, and the virtual machines that are made available are really for casual use. They're meant for developers. They're not anything that you would use to put into production. And so there was the two biggest roadblocks to cloud, or in general, but infrastructure as a service in particular, are security and usefulness. And so we focused on solving those two issues. So we've provided an extremely secure environment. We've done that by not only the layered security products that we put on it, but just a simple way that we use infrastructure as a service. So in the case of our relationship with LabVantage, we actually place our virtual machines on your network. And so once we've placed them there, we have no access to them, and since they reside on your network, the only people who have access to them are you. And so from a structural point of view, you have a much more secure environment. Secondly, we've provided a mission-critical quality infrastructure behind it. So many competitors in this space are looking to put the cheapest infrastructure they possibly can put together. Since we're targeting people who want to deploy applications in the cloud, those same people are going to need a much higher level, a much higher quality of infrastructure. Okay. So we've provided full SONET connectivity, so people have high-speed access to the cloud as well as low latency. We've provided a completely redundant infrastructure so that there are no single points of failure anywhere in our architecture. Our architecture is completely based on name brand products and software, so there are no white boxes, there are no freeware, there's no open source ware. So we've designed our infrastructure to be the same quality infrastructure that you would build internally to deploy your applications.
Excellent. So I can imagine that for an enterprise application. Those concerns you mentioned, data security, perhaps disaster recovery, backup, those kinds of things are very important. Tell me a little bit more about the efforts that you go through to secure the environment as well as the data.
So as I mentioned a second ago, first of all, by not allowing access to your virtual machines from anyone, including ourselves, we isolate the virtual machines in a very secure way. We've provided complete layered security model using McAfee products and a variety of others to provide the more typical security type of activities. We've also provided for complete encryption at rest. So all data at rest in the center will be encrypted, so you don't have to be concerned, that somebody would remove a disk drive that would contain, proprietary information to you or your customers.
Right.
In addition, we've engaged a third-party security monitoring service. So, we monitor all the log files and all the alerts that come from the security software that we've put into our infrastructure. But we've also hired a third-party company to do exactly the same thing. And so that third-party company, a company called Solutionary, will provide alerts directly to our customers. So, if there's any security incident that goes on in our cloud infrastructure, our customers will know about it at exactly the same time as we will. So we've tried to provide an exceptionally secure environment, both structurally, with placing virtual machines on your network, with full encryption of data, but also the layered software products and an external monitoring capability really provide a very locked down environment.
Great. Now we're planning on offering a software as a service solution for our customers beginning in the fall. And that relies very heavily on a close partnership with SHI. Can you tell us a little more about the partnership and what we're trying to do?
So one of the things that we want to do, particularly for customers who want to use us as the infrastructure to provide SaaS, is that we provide full and open access to our infrastructure, to our design. LabVantage knows exactly how their software is deployed and how we've protected it from a disaster recovery point of view. If you were, if my center should, sustain an outage, as unlikely as that might be, it's a tier 3+ center. We have full disaster recovery capabilities to an alternate site. And so we expose all of that to our SaaS provider customers. It sometimes is counterintuitive. People said, well, gee, if it's in the cloud, maybe I shouldn't have to know about any of that. And I particularly for a SaaS provider, I don't believe that's the case. I believe a SaaS provider really needs to understand what it is that we've done, to protect them, to protect their customers, and to make sure that they have 24/7 uptime, regardless of what transpires.
Excellent. And we also have customers who may want to go to the cloud, but may not want to take advantage of our SaaS offering, but instead essentially do a traditional LIMS or DecisionScape's business intelligence deployment, but to the cloud.
Yes.
And that's another option that we have with the SHI partnership.
Yeah. So since we're providing infrastructure as a service, you can also provide those same virtual machines to your customers. So you can load your software. It would work in the same way if you had loaded it on physical machines. Except that these machines now exist in the cloud. They don't need to be on the customer's premise, don't need to be on your premise. We take care of all of the all of the management of those things, the backup of those servers. So all of the sort of legwork around infrastructure would be handled by us. You can focus on supporting the application for your customer, even though it is installed specifically for a customer as opposed to a more general SaaS implementation.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Henry.
Pleasure
to coming out. And there'll be more about our cloud offerings and what we're doing in partnership with SHI in the future.
Excellent.
Thank you.